This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be responding to Dario Nardi. Hey, bro, can you type Kyrie Irving? Yeah, you've been blowing us up in the comments, so we're going to do that for you. But before we get into that, every time we drop a video, we send somebody to the Psychiatry Ward. We are the red pill of Typology over here. Yeah, we have a lot of people joining the group. Just remember that this is a self-development group, so we don't really care about people crying or anything like that. We care about people actually becoming better people, better versions of themselves, having better futures. That's our overall goal of that group. That's why we do the monthly calls where we talk about goals that we accomplished last month or the goals we didn't. It doesn't matter. And goals that we're setting for the following month. And during that time, you can ask typology questions. You can ask whatever. It's more of a bonding thing, but it's also to make sure we're actually accomplishing things. We are still doing the free typing sessions. All you have to do is join our Facebook group or Discord and message Cody. He's a moderator and he will get you hooked up with that. But let's get into it. The monkeys over at Personality Database has him as a ISFP. We're going to do we will use Linda Barrens Interaction styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions, and we will figure out his personality type. We are having Dario Nardi this Saturday for an interview, so drop questions below. Drop anything you would want us to ask Dario. As you guys know, he is the Neuroscience of Personality author. Dario is the GOAT of MBTI. I don't care what anyone says. That's straight up from me. He's the GOAT. So anything you want to ask, just drop in the comments below, and I'll try to make a list, and we'll try to ask him. Yeah. So they got him as ISFP. So ISFPs are informative, they're outcome, they're pragmatic, they're interests, they're responding. Did I miss one? I think I got it. Oh, the TFI and their SENI, okay? The good thing about the informative types, if you can spot SENI and informative, you're practically done with the type already, because there's only two types that are informative and SENI. That's ESFP and ISFP. So if you can do that, you can spot it down there quick, okay? But let's get into it. We'll go over the metrics. So you got initiating versus responding. Are they gregarious? Are they initiating the conversation? Do they feel comfortable initiating the conversation? Are they taking the lead? Are they changing the topic? And then you have responding. As introverts, information travels to the back of the brain. As extroverts, it travels more in the front of the brain, so it's able to reply quicker. But that doesn't mean they're always correct, okay? So responding is going to take its time. It's going to respond to questions, not going to really initiate. It might try to dig deeper into questions. Thomas loves doing that. And then you got abstract versus concrete. Abstract is the what if. Are they talking about philosophies, things outside of the five senses? Then you have the concrete, like they're talking about what is. Never really diving into the what if, what are possible, the possibilities, future focus. They're not doing any of that type of thing. They're just staying in the present or the past, okay? Then you have systematic versus interest. Systematic is like the best way to do something. These people are going to be implementing structures to get control over their lives. And you'll see that in the language. And then there's interest in the motive. They care about what they're getting out of a situation. They're always talking about other people's behaviors. Essentially trying to see the motive behind people. Are they switching things up, like no systems, just doing it based off circumstance? That's going to be more interesting motive. Then you have direct versus informative. Are they specific, concise, and to the point? Direct people generally like to tell people what to do. They feel comfortable doing that, especially the initiating direct. The responding direct, not as much, but they will generally rather tell somebody what to do than somebody else tell them what to do. Okay, then you have the informative people, which are beating around the bush. They give extra words. They're extra wordy, very descriptive, passive, taking a one down role. And what they're trying to do is they're just giving information and allowing you to come up with what you want to do. They're just giving you information. not telling you exactly what to do, or are they like kind of like when you listen to them, it's like what the fuck they're saying? That's gonna be informative. So then you got pragmatic versus affiliative. Pragmatic is individualistic. They have a utilitarian mindset. They're going to be rebellious contrarians to that degree. And then affiliative is another word for basically cooperation, inclusion, interdependence, all about the group. That's going to be affiliative. Then you got outcome versus progression. Outcome is all about the end product. Everything is about the end product. And then progression, it's all about the journey. The journey of things, and how that goes is it pretty much flows very well in conversation. As an outcome, it's kind of like screeching stops. Progression is kind of like a wave, and it just goes. Then you have SE and NI. SE, it's all about like manipulating the environment. So they're gonna be talking about, like, a lot of times they'll be talking about what other people are doing, because other people are part of the environment. They will be talking about totems, using memories from totems. Things like that. And then NI is like the future, what will happen, what, like, where they will be, attached to willpower. That's all NI. Then you have SINE. SI is all about the past, referring to the past to see what they should do now. They're more traditional. They care about duty. They really care about being comfortable. And then NE is all about the possibilities. It's seeing everything. Everything abstract, is seeing everything. What ifs, consequences, that type of thing. They will say things like all roads lead to Rome. That's the NE statement. That's the NE statement. All roads lead to Rome. TEFI, TE is more about outside sources. They're going to be references like name dropping a lot. They are going to be referencing books, quotes. They'll be talking about methodologies to a degree, effectiveness, productivity. That's going to be more TE. And then you got FI is all about what's important to them, their values, their morals, what they find important. And then you got TIFE, and that's basically just understanding at both degrees. TI is understand logical frameworks, and FE is about understanding people and their values, what they care about. So let's get into it. And guys, if you guys could please subscribe, that helps us grow the group. That helps us grow the channel. And as you know, we're all about giving back to the Mongolian Mindset group. So go ahead and subscribe and drop a comment of the next celebrity you want type.
Welcome back to the Etceteras podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eddie Gonzalez. And today I have
and comment below what you think Kyrie Irving's personality type is.
Special guest host, the first person to come back. So you have that distinction. My guy, Kyrie Irving.
Yes,
Kai,
sir.
how you living, man?
I'm great, man. Great. Taking it one day at a time. Blessed.
So we come in, this is 2 days since the unceremonious into your season.
Yeah.
How soon are you back in the gym? Like, you was hooping this morning or?
Nah. I had to decompress, reflect, and it's only been 48 hours.
Right.
But so there's about so much you
Decompress, reflect. That's gonna be more than responding round, man. I'm gonna just put an asterisk for responding there. Reflecting, that's a more introspection.
doing that amount of time. But I've just been at home with my family, really just dedicating time with them, being intentional with all that, and just catching up on things that I probably missed out on throughout the season.
So I heard, I just need you to confirm this rumor. I heard you play 1-on-3 as part of your training and just hoop, like, just get after it.
That is true.
What? Like, what?
I can confirm that.
What are you doing that for? Like,
just trying to work on so many different situations that can come across the game.
You know how mad I'd be if I was one of the three and you scored
And I
on
scored?
me? Yeah. I got your left hand, he got your right.
That's the point. That's the point, man. But honestly, it's just having a creative way to look at the game.
Yeah.
Just somebody's on my left, somebody's on my right. It's not
So that's outcome. Okay, he's doing that for an outcome. He's doing a 1-on-3 for an outcome.
It's gonna be like that, but when you have somebody contesting you and bumping you a little bit more, it helps. So just try to be creative in my workouts.
Like, decent bodies too. This isn't like me and my two boys. These are like, decent
these are players.
Folks.
These are players. They're not playing at the highest level that I'm at, but they definitely are part of my team when we go into the summertime or when I'm trying to get back in shape. they helped me out.
Yeah, that tripped me out. I'm like, yo, but I bet you killed doing it either way, which is the worst part about this whole thing.
Yeah.
So this season has been a roller coaster. You've talked a ton about all of this. I feel like you've been wild open, you know, as far as these are controversial things. These things people are worried about. What I wonder, as a fan, as somebody closely to the situation, was there ever a point in there where you're like, nah, I'm just gonna come back. I'm gonna like wavered on what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm glad we have this space to talk about it, because I felt like I've been as open as I could be as well, or as I can be. And, you know, it's hard to be transparent in this space where, you know, everybody's holding on to every single word that you're going to say. So I try to find a healthy balance.
Ooh, talking about people's intentions, motives. I'm gonna slap him for interest.
With, you know, being authentically me, speaking honestly, but also just being conscientious of other people's feelings and the other people that I represent, family members of mine. You know, I've said it so many things. And
being conscientious of other people's feelings. I'm gonna put that for FE. And then he did say something about being authentic to himself. So I'm gonna slap him for TEFI on that.
My life, you know, whether it be in public or in private conversations that could be controversial, right? Or they can, you know, make someone think a certain way about me. I really don't pay attention to that as much now. But I've just been able to learn and grow in this space to be able to learn, like, hey, I can articulate how I feel about certain issues, but some things I got to keep close to my chest, because, you know, not everybody's going to understand. You know, not everybody understood my stance this year of being unvaccinated or remaining unvaccinated. You know, I was asked in all different types of ways about how I felt and whether or not I was going to waver. Did I feel like, you know, I was letting the world down, or letting Nets fans down, letting my teammates down? And, yeah, part of that letdown feeling definitely seeped in, because, you know, it completely caught me off guard. I didn't expect to come into the season with all of this being put on my plate. You know, it was like an ultimatum given to me. It's either you work and get vaccinated, just like, you know, this ultimatum was given to other people, or you sit at home and, you know, now we get to talk shit about your decision and you personally, and
talking about the outcome again.
Make all these judgments and stuff like that. So I had to deal with both ends of the spectrum, right? So I sat right in the middle, and I knew I was doing the right thing for me. Yeah. And I
knew I was doing the right thing for me, TFI.
And I'm grateful that.
And I'll tell us pragmatic. Individualistic. Slapping for that.
A great support system around me that helped me get through it, because it wasn't easy, man.
So when the conversations do start about you coming back part-time, where does that come from? Like, were you approached? How does that begin, and then it kind of goes from there?
Well, I was approaching the team, you know, almost every day or every week, like, hey, is there any progress, any status? And, you know, trying to get in touch with the mayor's office, trying to get in touch with, you know, our political figures, our political leaders, to figure out, you know, how do we work around this? I talked to scientists, I talked to health professionals. I went down the checklist of, hey, is there
talk to scientists and talk to politicians? That's TFI. Authorities
that I can work around this, you know. And really what I ran into was, you know, it affected so many people, brother. Like, it affected so many people, not just in New York City, but across the whole entire.
Talking about that fact here, that's gonna be SE. It affected so many
entire world. So, you know, I was getting general answers back, because they were not trying to make it, hey, we're just trying to get you to play and give you special, you know, treatment. So
talking about interest. Go back, catch it.
It affected so many people, brother. Like, it affected so many people, not just in New York City, but across the whole entire world. So, you know, I was getting general answers back, because they were not trying to make it, hey, we're just trying to get you to play and give you special, you know, treatment. So I had to respect that, and I had to honor that, and go back and talk with, you know, my support system, figure out what was the best way to approach this, and you know, that's what we did.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because it kind of got spun into like, yo, this is only Kyrie, but literally like thousands of city municipal workers were fired, and there was protests, and it was affecting a lot more obviously than just you.
Yeah.
It is a little tricky that all of a sudden the Yankees and Mets can't play, and then all of a sudden there's some progress, but that's another debate for another day.
I don't even want to debate it. I'm like, I'm just happy for those that can stand firm in what they believe in and still be able to make a living.
Yeah.
When things come up in our society where they impact people's decisions based on real life circumstances. Like people have kids, people have families, and I just feel like it got confusing for a lot of us.
Yeah.
It got spun, like you said, in so many different ways. But really, what I was standing on was, hey, there's a whole community of us, right, that have been labeled as the unvaccinated, as the conspiracy theorists, whatever, that we've been labeled as
labels,
whatever these names have been brought to our lives, right, and who we are as people. But I was just saying, I am human. You're human. You have the right to make your own decision. I respect that.
Individualistic, pragmatic.
Respect me in the same way. But when you're playing in an entertainment game or you're playing in kind of a bigger game than yourself, it has rules. So
very particular set of circumstances for you. It was crazy as we.
All right, we're gonna hit him for informative. Informative. Okay, guys. With that being said, he's informative. I mean, I can go ahead and hit him for responding in TFI and be down to 2 types. But we'll be generous. We'll be generous here. So he's informative, so we can walk you guys through it. So if he's informative, that means the direct types are eliminated. That means the 8 direct types are eliminated. That means INFJ, ENFJ, INTJ, ENTJ, ISTJ, ESTJ, ISTP, and ESTP are eliminated because he's informative, okay? And we're going to be hitting him for responding soon in TFI. And with responding in TFI, we'll be down to 2 types. Let's get back to that.
Get to it. You then become the only player in the NBA that is dealing with this particular set of circumstances. You're not the only unvaccinated. You're still not the only unvaccinated player. So even though it gets spun that way, it was very tricky situation, obviously, for you. So when you get back on the court, how long did it take for you to feel back, like acclimated, or you're just boom right at it?
You probably gonna be like, what? You serious? Like I never felt like I was back.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I knew what I was gonna say.
I figured. You dropped 50 and 60 in the same week, and you still never felt back.
There was nothing to lose. It was only, like the journey to enjoy at that point, because I was sitting at home and
starting to remind me of Kobe.
I say sitting at home, I was wondering at home what my future was going to look like, whether I was going to be traded, whether I was going to be released, whether I was going to get the opportunity to be on another team, how I was going to spend this for myself in a positive way, So I kept affirming to myself.
We could hit him for interest or TFI or maybe pragmatic there, but we'll
change. I had people around me, and I'm grateful for them affirming that things were going to change. But I never felt like myself throughout the season, because I'm usually sustaining a level of growth throughout the year instead of trying to catch up with everybody that's been playing for 4 or 5 months. They've been at it every day since October or September. I was at it. Maybe September, October, I was healing from my ankle injury. I was still dealing with that. And when we got into training camp in San Diego, I was not expecting, a mandate to be brought down in a way that it wasn't going to allow me to play at all. Like, I had the opportunity to play away games still, but there was no plan in place. There was no vision of like how it's going to work for our team. And I think that really impacted not just me, but a lot of people. So You know, just had to sit in that hot seat for a little bit and deal with it, man. Life of a martyr.
Informative.
Bro.
I don't think you're getting out
Life
of
of a what? What did you say, boy?
Of a martyr, bro.
I don't think you're getting out of
life
the
of a
hot seat.
martyr. You a pragmatic
vision of like how it's gonna work for our team.
martyr.
And I think that really impacted
that.
Not just me, but a lot of people. So, you know, just had to sit in that hot seat for a little bit and deal with it, man. Life of a martyr, bro.
I don't think you're getting out of the hot seat anytime soon. I think
I'm okay with that.
That's just your seat for now.
I'm okay.
The ankle injury, I'm happy you mentioned that. So, not to dwell on last year, but how close were you to playing at that point? Like, you're playing in the next round, you're missing that. I remember seeing you in the arena with the scooter, and I'm like, oh, he's not gonna play no time soon.
Yeah.
How close? How far were you from that?
That was by far my most traumatic ankle injury.
It was a bad time.
Yeah, it was, and if you look at the video or the image, the still image of it, my ankle was 90 degrees on the floor.
You touched floor, yeah.
And what made it the worst one was the height I was coming down at, because I had just shot a floater, and you know, bro's foot was right there, and I come down on it, and it didn't twist right away and come back. It was on the ground for a second, you know, and I felt it, and I felt like I broke my ankle. Yeah. So I was scared, I was nervous, and when injuries happen at the height of the, you know, playoffs or your season or your postseason, man, that's not something you want to deal with. So that aspect took into play, you know, had to be taken into play. And I didn't start walking normal probably until like mid-September, into September. So training camp was like my first time going up and down and getting back my feel. So I knew it was going to be a process for me to play again, but it would have been accelerated being around the guys and playing game speed, you know what I mean? So now when the mandate was dropped, I'm at home with, you know, my healing ankle, but I'm not getting NBA basketball anymore, you know, or NBA run. So I had to be creative and just play the waiting game, bro, and wait until all of this stuff you know, kind of calmed down and there was some light at the end of the tunnel.
You've dealt with injury at the,
oh, man. So I'm going to go ahead for responding to.
This is the worst.
Kyrie. You sound like Michael Jordan. Not Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Just the not as focused version of Kobe.
Time, but
so with him being responding and informative, that means he's a background type or behind the scenes, whichever one you want to call it. So those are ISFJ, ISFP, INTP, and INFP, and we kind of know he's TFI, so we're going to be closing this up soon.
You're hurting the finals, you know, that was another one. It was like, you were pretty banged up then. Did that inform, like, I can't rush back from this even though it's the playoffs? It's obviously, it only ended up being another week and there wasn't no decision to make after that, but was that part of the process at the time too?
And if you're behind the scenes or background, you're automatically outcome, but we've already noticed that he's given outcome statements, so.
Two different situations, you know, just because I was dealing with a knee injury, you know, my ankle injury, it was a little bit more sensitive to me because I have to walk. You know what I mean? My knee is like, I could, you know, tie it together a little bit, you know, be creative with how I get my VMO, my quad firing and stuff like that. So I was able to get back into some type of form that I was at during those playoffs in 2015. But
gigantic brace on that leg at the time. I seen some footage recently and was like, yo, how do you for the way you play with that thing was nuts.
But that's the mental hurdle that a lot of athletes have to face in, you know, high pressure situations where your team is not necessarily relying on you, but they're depending on you to do everything you can to get back, which I did in those 2015 playoffs, but I just wasn't ready. You know, my knee was weak. It wasn't where I wanted it to be standard-wise, but I gave it a chance, right? Yeah. And I ended up with a fractured kneecap, and I was out for 7 months. And you look back on those decisions, and you're like, hey, if I would have kept myself out,
Talking about the
would that
outcome.
have been the right decision? Who knows, right?
Who knows?
No regrets in that. You know, I went after a championship, and I live with the results. Got a scar that I look at every day. That's just a reminder. But my ankle injury it felt different because I honestly felt like my ankle was broken. You know, I couldn't do ankle moves as much as I wanted to, and I couldn't walk around the way I wanted to. So I was
Couldn't
already
do what I
under the
wanted
impression
to.
it's
Didn't
gonna
have the
take me
freedom I wanted to. That's pragmatic. It's SENI too.
more than just 2 weeks,
Yeah,
3 weeks.
yeah.
It didn't hit me until we lost that, oh, this is going to take me
Months.
3 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get off my feet completely. And I'm a little bit of a wild card, you know, in terms of how I approach.
No way.
Wild card, pragmatic. Okay, that's it. He's ISFP. Okay, you remember what I told you guys earlier? If somebody's informative and pragmatic, you literally have 2 types: ESFP and ISFP. They're responding and it's ISFP. That's the easy shortcut right there. Yeah, so Kyrie Irving is an ISFP. We had one more point and we'd close out TEFI, but he's TEFI user. Okay, he's FI hero. He's SENI. Okay, he's outcome. Obviously, wild card. All of that. That's pragmatic. Okay, concrete and interest. You gotta be really careful with people like Kyrie Irving because that any trickster is well trained. So you could actually mistake him for being abstract, but he's an ISFP. It's an ISFP. And remember that little trick, man. If you see an informative bastard and they're pragmatic, they're either 2 types: ESFP or ISFP. Okay, either or. When you see this here, and you see this here, you're looking at these 2 types right there. Bam, 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 bam. Easy money. But yeah, personality database actually got this correct. Kyrie Irving is an ISFP. Like we said, guys, please subscribe to the channel and comment below a celebrity you want us to type. But yeah, this is Mongolian Mindset, and we're out.